In this video, we'll see how to work with literal equations. A literal equation is just an equation involving two or more variables. So let's first just look at an equation that we know how to solve. 10x plus 5 is equal to 80. Now, just think about what steps you go through to solve this for x. And when we say solve for x, that means we get x all by itself. Well, the first thing I would do is subtract 5, and I would get 10x equals 75, and then I would divide by 10. Now I've isolated the variable. I've solved it for x. X is all on its own. Well, now I've got this literal equation. ax plus n is equal to c, and I still want to solve it for x. So what would I do? Well, I want to just think about what would I do, in a regular equation when I had numbers. I would first get rid of this term n, and I'll be left with ax equals c minus n. And I want to get x all by itself. How do I do that? Well, I'm multiplying x by a, so I'm going to divide both sides by a. You got to divide the whole other side by a. So we get x is equal to c minus n over a. All right, let's look at this equation. Y equals mx plus b. I want to solve it for b, for m, and for x. So y equals mx plus b. First thing I want to do is solve this for b. Well, what am I doing to b? I'm adding this term mx to it. How can I zero out that whole term mx? I should subtract mx. So I'm going to do y minus mx. And now I'm just left with y minus mx is equal to b. And I've solved that for b. All right, now I want to solve this for m. Y equals mx plus b. I want to solve this now for m. How do I get the m by itself? Well, first I've got to get rid of this term b here. So I'm going to subtract b on both sides. I get y minus b is equal to mx. I want to get the m all by itself. So what do I have to do? Well, since m is being multiplied by x, to get it by itself and isolate it, I've got to divide both sides by x. So y minus b over x is equal to m. So you're really just practicing all the stuff you know about solving equations and now using it without any numbers there. So the last one, you want to solve y equals mx plus b for x. And again, I'm trying to get this x by itself. Well, what's happening? X is being multiplied by m, and we're also adding this term b. So my first step is going to be to zero out that b. Y minus b equals mx. To get x all by itself, x is being multiplied by m, so I need to divide both sides by m. Y minus b over m is equal to x. All right, and this last equation here, right, this is the formula for the area of a trapezoid. And I want to solve it for base 1 here, right? So the formula is 1/2, and then you add the base 1 and base 2. Remember, in a trapezoid, the two bases are different sizes. So you add base 1 plus base 2, and then you multiply that by the height, and you'll get the area. So I want to solve it for B1 here. So what should or could I do first here? Well, for me, there's a couple choices, but I think it'd be kind of nice to get rid of this 1/2 times this number here. So what can I do? I can multiply both sides by the reciprocal, right? Because that's how we make this 1/2 into 1. 1/2 times 2 is just 1. So I get this quantity b1 plus b2 times the height is equal to 2a. And now, this quantity, b1 plus b2, is being multiplied by the height. Let me get rid of that height. Since I'm multiplying by the height, I'm going to divide both sides by the height. So now I get the first base plus base 2 is equal to 2a over h. And to get base 1 by itself, let's subtract base 2 on both sides. And our answer is going to be base 1 is equal to 2a over h minus base 2. And that's how we work with literal equations.